Welcome to another edition of Survival Stuff with Indiana Jim, sponsored by Live Free USA at AmericanSurvivor.org. I am James C. Jones, the author of several survival books, including The Ultimate Book of Survival Gear, which came out quite recently, and we're going to be talking about gear today, and some of that gear and equipment is illustrated in that book. That's from Skyhorse Publishing, if you care to look into that. Live Free USA is America's oldest and most respected survival organization. It was established in 1968. Actually, it was doing we were doing some of those things before 1968. It's devoted to family preparedness and survival education. We are a not-profit, tax-deductible organization, basically supported by our memberships, which you can join through AmericanSurvivor.org, and contributions and sponsorships, which we have only a few of at this time, but like to have more sponsorships. So that's who we are, that's what we are, that's who I am. But the most important thing is getting information out to the public, and that's what our organization is dedicated to, and that's my personal mission in life. So we're going to talk today about weapons that are actually in your pack. Now, we've talked about weapons that you carry with you, we've talked about the pack, we've talked about all kinds of other aspects of survival preparedness and survival gear. These are the weapons that actually go in your pack. So we like to say, this is grab and go. I don't have time to rush around, grab my rifle, grab this, grab ammunition, all this kind of stuff. I just the pack and I'm out of here. Okay, so you got to have some kind of weapons in your pack. And we're also focusing on survival, that is, weapons that you can use to take small game, to keep you supplied with food, especially when we're talking about the survival pack versus the evacuation pack. Evacuation pack is just for like 3-4 days, gets you to the FEMA shelter, God help you, or to your relative's house where you're going to dig in until the disaster is over, or until you can go back home and everything is back. The survival pack is supposed to keep you going indefinitely, so you can convert from short-term survival with the food you've got in the pack. So you can gather your own food. So you may have you may do foraging and edible plants, and also taking small game and fishing and all that kind of stuff. So the weapons in your pack, that we call survival pack weapons, are not intended for combat. They're not intended for self-defense, although they might have some applications there in a desperate situation. They're meant to take small game. So they have to be small and collapsible, obviously, to fit in your pack. They have to be lightweight but durable. They have to use light and available ammunition. In other words, ammunition that you can either carry with you easily or that you can improvise, and that don't take up a lot of room. They have to be effective for hunting small game, as I said, and they are generally not self-defense and combat weapons. So that's what we're talking about today. And the first one we're talking about goes way back to when I was a kid. My first survival packs and my first survival packs that I had is basically a Boy Scout, and then on as I became involved in survival education was a slingshot. Now, slingshot is a pretty effective weapon. If you practice with a slingshot, as a kid, we could hit, at TV antennas on people's roofs with a slingshot. You can get very accurate with them. Slingshots are very compact. They're silent. They fire, you can shoot steel ball bearings, you can shoot marbles, you can shoot small pebbles and rocks. So ammunition is always available. I would also recommend that whatever kind of slingshot you get, you get a couple of spare bands, because they do tend to wear out and break, and under survival conditions, you're not going to be able to book on down to the sporting goods store and get some spare bands. So anyhow, survival slingshots. You can go to Google, look up survival slingshots. You'd be surprised. There's literally scores and scores, or maybe even hundreds of different variations. There's the wrist rocket that goes on your wrist. There's our old ones that we used to use, Whammo, that was the brand. But there's a number of these. You can go all the way from this is about, I think this thing costs less than $10. It fits in your pack real nice. It'll fit in your pocket real nice, even in your miniature survival kit. You know, if you got a tiny survival kit, you could fit one of these in there, and you got some kind of a weapon. And again, you want to have at least, you know, one spare band for this. In fact, you can see, if you look closely, you can see that this band here is starting to deteriorate. So you have to always check things out. So anyhow, you can get this survival slingshot. Definitely want to have something like that in your pack. You can go all the way to the other extremes. This is a survival slingshot, and this is about 40 bucks, I guess, if I remember correctly. It's got the wrist, which gives you a lot more strength, because you could put it on your wrist. I'm going to back up a little bit here. So you can put this on your wrist. You've got a lot of power there, and you could take down, you know, rabbits and squirrels and, you know, any kind of small game, birds, that kind of thing. And this is, like I say, this is a survival slingshot. It's not real compact. You may not want to go this far. This is 40 bucks. I'd say that you could probably get away with a $10 or $15 slingshot. Wrist rockets are good. Some kind of wrist rocket. The wrist part folds up. And they're pretty compact, but this one's a little over the top, and it does have, you can store ammunition in the grip, and this will fire steel ball bearings of various sizes, including these larger ones and also these smaller ones. Obviously, you get more velocity and range, but less impact out of the smaller versions. But you can carry quite a few of these. In fact, all of these will go in the stock. There's some in the stock already. You can go a little crazy with slingshots. I found one that's like $200, and it has a laser sight on it. Or you can get the basic Daisy and Whammo wrist rockets, pocket rocket brands. These run for about $15 to $20. So, you know, that's probably where you want to go, but definitely slingshot, first choice, must have, almost a must-have item in your pack. If you lose everything else, you got some kind of weapon. Beyond the slingshot, you can go to a collapsible bow. Now this is the Nomad collapsible bow. All the elements, there's 5 parts, 5 pieces, goes together real easy, real fast. Again, just like with the bands for the slingshot, you want to have a couple of extra bowstrings along with you. So you can get the Nomad, which is a really nice one, and it's a 5-piece with 4 breakdown arrows that it comes with. And I got more, I got extra arrows, but these are breakdown arrows, because obviously the arrows won't fit in your pack, they'll be sticking out. But the Nomad comes with breakdown arrows, so you can see here that they thread together. And you've got a full-size arrow, and I've got 6 of those in the Nomad, all fit in a little case in my pack. Don't take up a lot of room. So that's that and the slingshot. And I've got 2 weapons in my pack as I take off with it. Now, as I pointed out in a couple of other episodes, the takedown rifles, and there's a lot of different takedown rifles. Some of them will fit in your pack. Some of them really aren't practical. They're takedown, they're good for carrying, but not necessarily, you know, take up room in your pack that you need for food and all the other things that you need, shelter and that kind of things. One, however, that does really fit in your pack pretty well is the Henry rifle AR7 survival rifle. Now I think they cost about $250 to $300. They come with this big bulky stock, okay, and this is the way they come. Now actually mine is the original one that was put out by Stoner back in the day. This was made for the Air Force, and actually, if you can see the compartments in there, the whole rifle the barrel, the magazines, and the whole rifle mechanism, the bolt and all that goes into this compartment. Now that's pretty cool if you're in the Air Force and you go in the water and it floats along and you've got what they call a floating rifle, providing the stock doesn't come loose. But this ain't gonna fit in your pack, and this is not, this is not practical for you, the prepper, the survivalist, the guy with the pack. So what you do is you buy yourself a Henry AR7 22 caliber rifle. You get rid of this. You go online to AR7.com/AR7 Stocks. AR7.com/AR7 Stocks. And they have a number of stocks, and they have a folding stock. See, so this would ordinarily go here, okay? Now, you take that off, it's just one bolt, you unbolt it, you unscrew it, okay? And then you get this stock, which consists of the hand grip and this folding stock, collapsible stock, and you put that on there. And then, of course, the barrel. And this doesn't take up very much room. This doesn't take up very much room in your pack at all. It's a little bit of weight. Yeah, I understand that. But if you want to have a rifle in your pack, and you can carry several hundred rounds of 22 caliber long rifle ammunition, it doesn't take up much room at all. So you've got this in your rifle, in your pack, and then you've got the stock. And just put that up there. And you've got yourself a fairly complete survival rifle that actually fits in your pack when it's collapsed. And you can also get extended magazines at that same website at AR7.com, AR7 Stocks. You can also get at that same site, you can get extended magazines. So you want to have a couple magazines, you've got several hundred rounds of ammunition, you got yourself a rifle, you got a little bit of self-defense capability there. Now, in some cases, I know some folks too, that they keep a handgun in their pack. Now, the idea, a small handgun, yeah, you could take game if you're really a good shot. There were a little more bulk in there. But you remember, you're the guy heading down the road with the nice pack full of goodies and survival stuff, and the other people out there may not have that stuff, and they may want to take it from you. And they may be armed too. Hopefully, you had next to your pack, you had a shotgun or, an AR or an AK or some kind of weapon to defend yourself and your pack. But maybe you didn't. Maybe you just had, you just grabbed the pack and left, and maybe on top of your pack, you want to have a handgun. Now, basic, you could have anything you want in there. You could have an M&P, handgun. You could have anything you want in that pack. I would recommend 9mm. But really, if you really want to think about it, you probably want to have a full size 13 round. There's a lot of good weapons out there now, handguns, 9mm, 13 round magazines, or a 19. This is a 19 round magazine. I fitted it with a Viper sight. But anyhow, that's up to you. But anyhow, a good solid handgun, something that's gonna put out a lot of rounds, discourage the bad guy, okay? Get them to back off, get them to leave you alone. Yes, an emergency, maybe you can take some game with this too, but you want to have something in there probably to defend yourself. Now, you also, if you're going to have that, you want to have several magazines, extra magazines, so you can really put out a little volume of fire. You're not getting into a long-range combat shooting deal with somebody with a rifle, or you're just, this is me, leave me alone, bang, 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 they're going to head for cover. At least you got something to protect yourself. Remember though, you're not Rambo, and neither was he, okay? Don't get carried away with these overly romantic ideas of combat shooting and all that. I know most of us we have job obligations, we have family obligations, we have budgets. A lot of us aren't going to be able to go to that weekend in Arizona combat school. That's great if you can, by all means do. But whatever training you can get, I don't know if you ever heard the term perfect is the enemy of good. And I see that a lot. People say, well, I can't do this, I can't get that training, I can't learn this, so I'm not gonna try. I'm just, I don't want a gun, or I'm just not gonna go to training at all. No, any training is better than no training. So get whatever training you can. Dry fire training, your local pistol range training, airsoft training. I don't really recommend paintball. Paintball gets you in a lot of bad habits because you get used to getting shot and not dying. I think that's a really bad habit to get into, because when you get shot with something like this, you're probably going to die. So, no, paintball, it's fun, that's fine, but you don't want to get into those kind of habits. So if you can go to a good combat course, a good combat training school, that's great. I recommend it. But if you can get soft air combat course, it'll teach you movement, it'll teach you to move from target to target, right range, so you get used to just firing the gun. You don't remember when you're in combat, it's not the range. So, you're not, aim, breathe, squeeze, you're gonna, that's a totally different thing to learn. So, dry firing, the thing about the police battle, had a battle, and when they went around after the battle and several of the police officers had been killed, they found that their magazines had all been put back in their pocket. They're in combat and they're picking up their magazines. In combat, you just drop the magazine, but these were habits they got into. But whatever you do, get whatever training you can. Regardless, like I say, you're not going to be Rambo, and maybe you can't get the best training, but like your better basic first aid is better than, okay, I can't become a paramedic, but I can get basic first aid, or I can go to a one-day class. The same thing applies to combat weapons use. So, with all that said, hopefully this will help you make your choice as to what you want to put in your pack, what kind of weapons you want to put in your pack. And until next time, this is Indiana Jim for Life and Freedom. Stay safe out there.